Welcome to our U.S. briefing program. Today, we have a lot to cover, starting with the strong alliance between President Biden and President Macron. They have released a joint roadmap to support Ukraine, using frozen Russian assets to aid Kyiv. This move highlights their commitment to opposing Russia and ensuring Europe's security. Next up, the European Parliament elections have seen a record turnout, with pro-European parties expected to maintain their majority. However, far-right and nationalist groups are gaining ground, potentially reshaping Europe's political landscape. The elections will also determine if Ursula von der Leyen will get a second term as European Commission president. Lastly, the U.S. men's national soccer team faced a tough match against Colombia, resulting in a 5-1 defeat. This match has been a wake-up call for the team, highlighting the need to improve their performance against top-ranked opponents. Please stay tuned for more detailed coverage of these stories. Guardian. French President Emmanuel Macron and U.S. President Joe Biden have jointly endorsed a plan to use frozen Russian assets to support Ukraine, showcasing their united front against Russian aggression. During Biden's state visit to Paris, a roadmap was released, emphasizing the importance of preventing Russian President Vladimir Putin from succeeding in Ukraine, as it would pose a threat to all of Europe. The U.S. and its G7 partners are making progress in this initiative, despite some international concerns. Meanwhile, the conflict continues to escalate with deadly Ukrainian strikes on Russian-occupied regions and ongoing drone exchanges. Ukrainian air defenses successfully intercepted several Russian drones, and Ukrainian forces claimed control over more than half of the contested town of Vovchansk. Additionally, an assassination attempt on the former mayor of Kupiansk highlights the ongoing tensions and violence in the region. Guardian. Millions of Europeans are heading to the polls for the European Parliament elections, which are expected to shift the assembly further to the radical and far right. Voters in major EU countries are electing 720 lawmakers to the world's only directly elected transnational parliament. While mainstream pro-European groups are predicted to retain a majority, nationalist and far-right parties are set to gain a record number of seats. The European Parliament, which has gained significant legislative power over the past 2 decades, will play a crucial role in shaping policies on climate action, artificial intelligence, and workers' rights. Ursula von der Leyen's bid for a second term as European Commission president hinges on the Parliament's decision. The election also sees an increase in youth voting, with some countries lowering the voting age to 16. The results are expected to provide a clearer picture of the political landscape by early Monday. Yahoo US. The U.S. men's national soccer team faced a humiliating 5-1 defeat against Colombia in a high-profile friendly, marking the worst loss of the Greg Berhalter era. The match, held at Commanders Field near Washington, D.C., was intended to be a test for the still unproven team but quickly turned into an embarrassment. Colombian fans chanted, "USA, Colombia es tu papa," as their team dominated the game. Despite some moments of balanced play, the U.S. team crumbled under Colombia's relentless attacks. Captain Christian Pulisic and other players acknowledged the defeat as a wake-up call, but questions remain about why the team needed such an awakening. The loss underscores the U.S. team's struggle to compete against top-tier international opponents, raising concerns about their readiness for the upcoming Copa America. South China Morning Post. The U.S. has resumed vital aid deliveries to Gaza from a newly repaired American-built pier, which was initially damaged by severe weather shortly after becoming operational. The pier, crucial for transporting humanitarian aid, was reconnected to the beach in Gaza following repairs at an Israeli port. On Saturday, approximately 1.1 million pounds of aid were delivered, coinciding with a heavy Israeli air and ground assault that resulted in significant casualties. The U.S. official overseeing the operation emphasized the importance of the pier in providing a steady flow of food and emergency supplies to Palestinians amidst the ongoing conflict. The pier's reconstruction and subsequent aid deliveries have been a collaborative effort involving the U.S. military, the UN World Food Programme, and other humanitarian partners, highlighting the persistent challenges and urgent need for aid in Gaza. New York Times. In the Grand Reception Hall of the Élysée Palace, President Emmanuel Macron of France hosted President Biden at a state dinner to celebrate the long-standing alliance between France and the United States. The event, marked by speeches and a sumptuous four-course meal, underscored the historical and ongoing cooperation between the two nations. Biden, addressing Macron as Emmanuel, highlighted the deep-rooted friendship, citing a World War II guidebook that emphasized shared democratic values. The dinner, replete with champagne and a prestigious Chateau Margaux, was a symbol of the enduring bond, especially in the context of joint support for Ukraine against Russian aggression. The evening's elegance and historical references served as a reminder of the strong ties and mutual support that have characterized the Franco-American relationship. Yahoo US. Thousands of protesters gathered outside the White House to voice their opposition to the Biden administration's policies on the Israel-Hamas war. Dressed in symbolic attire, they chanted and held banners to draw attention to what they perceive as a red line crossed by Israel. The protest, which saw participants from various cities, included calls for an arms embargo and an end to the conflict. Many attendees expressed regret over their previous support for Biden, citing his handling of the situation in Gaza. The demonstration featured speeches from political figures and activists, emphasizing the urgency of changing U.S. policy. The protest also saw some controversial messages and acts of vandalism, reflecting the intense emotions and diverse viewpoints within the movement. Despite differing opinions, the overarching message was a call for peace and justice in the Middle East. South China Morning Post. In the northeastern tip of the Philippines lies the small coastal town of Santa Ana, a picturesque locale with stunning beaches and bustling casinos, now caught in the geopolitical crossfire between the U.S. and China. This town, along with Lalo in the province of Cagayan, has become a focal point due to their proximity to Taiwan and inclusion in the U.S.-Philippines Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, EDCA. This agreement facilitates joint military exercises and troop rotations, placing Santa Ana under the scrutiny of both American and Chinese interests. While the U.S. has bolstered its military presence, Chinese traders have established businesses, contributing significantly to the local economy. However, this influx has raised concerns among local officials about potential espionage and the high number of Chinese nationals in the region. Cagayan's strategic importance has grown amidst escalating tensions in the Taiwan Strait, transforming the province into a potential flashpoint in the power struggle between the two superpowers. Local residents, like Rosario Rambada and Ana Bartolome, express fears of becoming collateral damage in a possible conflict, underscoring the fragile balance between military preparedness and economic dependence on foreign investments. Australian Broadcasting Corporation. In the serene South Australian countryside, hidden behind an unassuming cream brick veneer, lies the personal gallery and studio of Frank Harding, a police detective turned professional artist. Harding, born in 1935 in Wherrymill, Victoria, transitioned from a career in law enforcement to a life dedicated to art, creating a legacy that spans thousands of artworks. His gallery, built in Renmark near the Murray River, showcases his diverse talents in oil paints, watercolor, pen, ink, and egg tempera. Harding's works capture the essence of country Australia, from bushrangers to Royal Australian Air Force pilots of World War II, each piece meticulously crafted and corroborated with historical records. Despite his untimely death in 1990, Harding's gallery remains a hidden treasure, open by appointment and on rare open days, preserving his artistic legacy. Visitors like Alex Jones and Renmark artist Colleen Bernadette Munday praise Harding's work as die-hard Australian and brilliant, respectively. Harding's daughter, Megan, continues to champion her father's gallery, seeking community support to keep this unique cultural gem accessible to the public, ensuring that Frank Harding's vibrant life and art remain on display for future generations. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.